Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. This is Trivia Tuesday. Diddly-dee-dee-diddly-dee-dee, Trivia Tuesday. My name's Jason Newland. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes, because this is a Let Me Bore You to Sleep recording, which might bore you, which may result in your eyelids getting heavy and falling asleep, deeply asleep. I hope you're well. Just to let you know, I have a Facebook group called Jason Newland's Boring Group. There is a link on my website. I have a YouTube channel at Jason Newland, where all my latest podcast episodes are released. And my podcasts are also available on most of the podcast apps, such as Spotify, Apple, you name it, they're everywhere. Also, all the latest recordings and thousands of my recordings and my old stuff also is available on my website, jasonnewland.com. So today is Tuesday the 10th of June 2025. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do as far as trivias, what kind of subject I could talk about today. And then I thought, I'll do something a little bit more, I don't know, silly maybe, a little bit more just, no, I don't generally go heavy with it anyway, but just a bit gentle. So I'm gonna focus on famous inventions that fell flat. So basically, inventions that were supposed to be really good and they were released to the public, and the public said, "No thanks, no, you're okay. I'm stepping back. See you later. Take your invention with you. Thank you very much." That kind of thing. So, I'd say it's been a nice day today. This morning I went out with my coat on because it was overcast, it was windy, it had been raining pretty much all day yesterday. And it wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold. And it wasn't raining. So I went out this afternoon. I normally try and take them out a few times a day. Went out this afternoon just with my cardigan on, thinking it should be warm enough with the cardigan. Hopefully it won't rain. But if it does rain, I'll just have to come home. But I won't wear my coat because I wore it earlier and it didn't rain. Not that that's the reason it didn't rain. I don't think my coat had anything to do with it. I'm not superstitious like that. Like, otherwise, well, I was going to say I would wear my coat all the time to stop it raining, but then there'd be a drought, wouldn't there? That wouldn't be good for the world. So I went out with my jumper, my cardigan. It was too hot. Too hot. I was a little bit sweaty. There was a little puddle building up, you know, down there. I was like, oh, this is weird, because I didn't expect it to be warm, but it was, and windy. So it threw me off a little bit, because I was thinking, earlier on, a few hours ago, I was internally having a little bit of a moan. Call this the summer, do you? This is supposed to be June. This isn't summer. It's cloudy and potentially rainy. I have to wear a coat. But I didn't. Didn't have to wear a coat. I didn't have to wear a jumper or a cardigan. And then I went out later, about 6-ish, I don't know, whatever time it was. Wore my cardigan at this point because I thought, well, it's not going to be warm now. Not now. If anything, it was warmer than it was earlier. Everyone's walking around in shorts and t-shirts. Not everyone. Well, I don't know if everyone, I'm not looking at it. I'm just saying there are people around. I was the only one with a jumper on. And, well, not the only one in the world, but just saying, like, I didn't see many people dressed as thoroughly prepared for changing the weather, you know. Everyone was just like, oh, it's sunny, let's all wear t-shirts. And I was like, oh, this is a bit hot. And someone did ask me, a dog walker said, oh, how come you got a jumper on? I said, it's not a jumper, it's a cardigan. See the zip difference. She said, that's not really relevant. Why you got why are you wearing that? I said, because the weather is not synchronized with my body. And she says, well, what do you mean? The weather, she didn't say it like that. She said, well, which I guess she meant, what does it mean? What do you mean? I said, well, the weather says t-shirt weather, okay? The weather says wear a t-shirt, but my body says don't wear a t-shirt, wear some cover up. So we laughed. So the first one is QCAT barcode scanner. QCAT barcode scanner, designed to connect print ads to websites in 2000, but fizzled within a year due to lack of interest. Designed to connect print ads to websites. I don't even understand really what that concept is. Maybe that was the problem. Oh, okay. Number 2, Betamax video format. I'm offended by that. Because this is wrong. Betamax video format offered better picture quality than the VHS in the 1970s, but lost the format war. Okay, yeah, they did lose the format war, but it was in the 80s. It wasn't in the 70s, it was in the 80s. Get it right, baby, get it right. I remember. It might be in the late 70s. No, it was the early 80s, I'm sure it was. We had all three. So, the best one, if I remember, Horace is back. I am planning to try and take a picture of Horace, the pigeon, and post it on my Facebook page. Can you hear him? It's visited me about 5 times today. The window's open, so I'm wondering if he wants to come in and say hi. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I don't know if Vinny would... I'm not sure. I don't know. I think he would be happy, but probably in the wrong kind of way. Oh, a new toy. No. So, my memory of video recorders, or video players rather, was the early 80s, but maybe they were around in the late 70s. It was I think it was a Sony. I think it was Sony, but it was 2000 series, and you could record on both sides. And it was like 4 hours each side, something like that. They were long. And then Betamax took over. They became the front runner. And then there was a period when Betamax and VHS pretty much went side by side. And the videotapes, as far as I remember, was the same for both. But again, I might be wrong there. Maybe the Betamax tapes were different. Definitely the 2000 series. Was it Sony? They were definitely a larger tape. It was a different kind of tape size. I thought that Betamax was the same as VHS. But thinking about it, I think Betamax might have been a bit chunkier. But we had all three, not at the same time. I think there was a period when we had both VHS and Betamax, because we had videos. We might have also kept the other one as well, because we had videos of stuff that that my dad had taped off the TV. And he had a drawer. Wow, I remember the drawer. I think he's still got that set of drawers. And in the bottom, it was full of videotapes. And every James Bond movie was on there. None of them were purchased. None of them were like... In them days, I don't want to say late 70s, but early 80s... To buy a videotape was expensive, like really expensive to actually buy one. They didn't sell them in the shops. You know, you couldn't, as far as I remember, they weren't available to buy in the shops. It was really renting, or you taped off the telly. And so my dad had every single James Bond movie all marked off, old, like that little white strip on the front of it or whatever, that he'd write down what the film was. And he never put James Bond because we knew that was the only thing that he really liked. We did have Enter the Dragon as well, the Bruce Lee film, but that was more for me. The weird thing about it is every single Christmas and every single Easter, and also other weekends throughout the year, there would be old James Bond movies on, especially at Christmas. But there'd also be other stuff on. Things that we'd not seen before. Things that we perhaps all wanted to watch. But nope, we had to watch the James Bond movie. So my dad would be there in his recliner watching. We didn't even watch it. He fell asleep within about 10 minutes. But guaranteed, if you turned it off, You turned it over to another channel, he'd wake up straight away. It's like he was asleep, but he wasn't asleep. I tried to reason with him, like, come on, why are we watching Diamonds Are Forever when you have the videotape in the drawer next to you? You can watch it any time. I want to watch it now. Never. I kind of just didn't understand. Couldn't really get my head around it. But he loves James Bond movies. I did actually buy him a DVD collection of all the James Bond movies. I don't know, it's long to put it at 20 years ago. All the ones up to that point anyway. And I remember going around, I think I stayed in the bedroom or whatever, a few years later, and it hadn't even unpacked it, still in plastic. Hadn't touched it. I'm never going to look at it. Because he's just going to wait till they're on TV, isn't he? That's it. Wait till they're on TV and watch them. You're not going to watch them on DVD. Well, that's his way. But then sometimes I'm a little bit like that, you know. If I see something that I could just watch, I could stream it, but it just happens to be on telly. Sometimes I watch it on telly. There's not really any logic to it, really, I guess. Other than maybe it's like a little surprise, like, ooh, look, that thing's on. I'll watch it. Ooh, yeah. But VHS did take over from Beta Max. I think we just used to call it Beta. Beta Max was the correct term, but just Beta. Beta. I can almost remember the logo as well. I'd say what we used to do. I say we, it wasn't me, but there used to be programs on quite late at night, or maybe it was on the other side when it's kind of ironic really, because my dad would want to watch James Bond, so we would record the program that we wanted to watch, so that would also be on a tape. So both the programs, the program that we wanted to watch would be now on videotape, and the movie that he was watching was already on videotape. It's a very strange scenario. There was a couple of TV shows that were really long. One was the Thornbirds, one was North and South, one was Shogun. Yeah, Thornbirds and Shogun was Richard Chamberlain. North and South was Patrick Swayze. And these were early 80s. And they were quite big, epic series that went on for hours and hours and hours. Really, each episode was very long. It was like a full-length movie each. Longer, in fact. I think like 6-7 hours long. So maybe I'm exaggerating. Possibly. There was a really strange show, because I used to like these shows, because it wasn't really, in all honesty, I don't think it was really aimed at me. I don't mean me personally. Yeah, I don't think there was a bunch of writers thinking, right, well, little Jason is 10. What can we produce for him? How about a soldier that gets stranded on an island in Japan, and he learns to be a samurai? How about that? Yeah. Or what about a love affair between two married people? Or what about the Civil War? That would be a 10-year-old would love to watch that. That's about the Civil War, the first Civil War. Like, no. It probably wasn't aimed at me. But I did like watching it. I think it was because I was with my stepmom, and I kind of liked what she liked. I kind of really was more influenced by her. Probably in reality, probably more influenced by her than anyone else in my childhood. During my childhood period, she had more influence over me. In a positive way. I spent time with her. I learned how to talk, not how to talk, but how to have conversations because of her. Because we would talk and she'd tell me stuff, and I suppose I learned how to communicate with her. Yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to be just like being with her, just like being with her. That's simple as that, really. Nothing weird about that, is there? I didn't want to be her. I don't want to be like her. No, I suppose I did want to be like her. I wanted to be, because she was friendly, she was popular, people used to like to stop and chat to her, and I thought, I didn't have anything to say to them, and I'd just be standing around bored. But I would sort of think, well, how do you do that? How do you keep a conversation going? Yeah. I learned as I got older, but there were times when I'd be talking to someone, even in my 20s, and 30s as well, and 40s, and 50s probably, but there's been times, it happens less, but then I have less opportunity for it to happen. But there's been times when I've been talking to someone, and just one-on-one conversation, and that's it, run out of words, got nothing else. And I think sometimes that happens when people ask me questions about myself. Like, I'd say I probably, obviously I like talking about myself because I do it every day. But I don't have that interest in other people that is required in order for the conversation to work, because conversation is reciprocal, isn't it? It's not just one-sided, otherwise it would be a monologue, which is kind of what I do, I suppose. And I can talk to people, but I don't generally... I might ask questions, but I'm generally not interested, because someone say, oh, yes, you don't, but there's a benefit to that. I don't know what means, but there is a benefit of not being particularly interested, is I'm also not particularly judging them either. I just take people as they come, just take it, just like, okay, that's how you are, and don't get too involved in their life, and it's fine. I quite like knowing people, maybe in that capacity where it's just... some would maybe argue, say, well, it's very flimsy, or it's very... I don't know what the correct word would be. Not very deep, very transparent, or maybe there is a word that I can't think of right now. However, I would say that even people I walk around the park with or see in the park, I have some pretty deep conversations sometimes. Talk about some very serious subjects. People tell me about their lives and tell me about what's going on with them, maybe health stuff. So yeah, I don't delve, but sometimes people just open up. And I don't judge them either way. if they want to just mention how cold it is, or if they want to talk about someone that he lost. Either way, it's fine with me. I'm not really sure where I'm going with that. What's that got to do with famous inventions? Famous? Was the word shallow what I was looking for? Am I just a shallow person? Possibly. Edsel car. Now, some of you might know what this is. I don't. I know what a car is. But Edsel car. So it was a heavily marketed car in 1957, but widely panned and considered a major flop. No, I do remember that. I remember hearing about it. It was like a really bad car, apparently. No one liked it. But they went ahead with it anyway, but no one liked it. I'm indifferent because I wasn't born. Number 4, McDonald's Arch Deluxe. Launched in the 1990s as a grown-up burger. Now that's a bit rude, isn't it? A grown-up burger. It failed to resonate with the consumers. If course it is. If you tell them that they're kids, telling all the adults eating burgers like, well, up till now you're just kids, and if you want to be a grown-up, you should eat this deluxe arch thing. People don't like being told off. I just want to come just to get some fat in my body. I'm not just. Yeah. So yeah. McDonald's. Okay, that's it. Double Google Glass consumer version. I actually saw an advert. I saw a video on YouTube about that. It's a different thing. Google Glass consumer version, initially hyped as wearable tech, but abandoned due to privacy and usability concerns. Okay, I don't know much about that. I know that Google have got a whole load of new stuff coming out, including Google Glass TV, and they got this thing where there's a camera above it and to the side, and it's almost like a 3D screen, and you can communicate with someone, I guess over online, but it's a big screen and you can see them, and it looks very real, and it looks like their hands coming out of the TV. And I just thought, and they did this demonstration, the man from Google had this, I don't think he was like a YouTuber, come in and sit down. He said, well, just look at that screen. I'm going to go into the other room and we can talk. And that's what they did. And I was just thinking, maybe it wasn't another screen. Maybe it wasn't in another room. Maybe there was a hole in the wall behind the TV and they just turned the screen on and he was just sitting there. That's why it looked so realistic. And I thought how funny, because at one point he was eating an apple. I thought how funny it would be if the apple like fell out of his hand and it fell onto the table and gave the whole thing away. Or the person that was there on the other side might think, wow, this is so realistic, the apple fell on the table, blimey. So, but that wasn't that, it was actually a real thing, but it's like, wow. The problem with that is maybe I could do that. I don't do video calling. I don't do it. I don't. And what I've noticed is I was on, what's it called? Not crap. What's it called? What's crap, I call it. WhatsApp. I was on WhatsApp and I've come out of it. I don't like it. And I started having... What it gives people the opportunity is to make phone calls even if they don't have... Let's say they've got a pay-as-you-go phone and they've got no credit, but they can still make phone calls off of Wi-Fi. So if they tap into a friend's Wi-Fi, they can make phone calls, which is good. Unless, of course, that person's phoning me up for money. So, yeah, not so good. So I had a few people be calling me up. Sometimes trying to do like a live stream, like a video thing. Like, I don't do video thing. Don't do it. My dad's tried to do it in the past. Like, no. But it's Christmas. I was like, I don't care. I can't. It's like, look, Dad, if you did the video, then you realise, everyone in the room would realise I was on the toilet. He said, well, get off the toilet, maybe. I said, no, then you'll all see that I'm not wearing... Anyway, it doesn't matter. Just I don't... You could just do it as a voice. That's what phones are for. That's when I realised that maybe I wasn't really up to date with technology. But yeah, I'm not into the video thing, like video calling. But maybe if it was a big screen and it looked realistic, and maybe it would be more potentially usable. But still, I don't want to have to get dressed just to make a phone call. Not that I'm sitting around naked all day long, but it's not just that. It's like, you know, it's not just getting dressed, but it's getting dressed accordingly. Like, I wouldn't go knock on my dad's front door dressed like this. I would put some clean clothes on and make myself look mildly presentable. But if someone just phones me out of the blue, then I might have ice cream all over my face or chocolate all down my top, soup on my feet. You know, it could be anything. So I don't, not really for me. However, maybe it will be one day. Sony Betamax, it's on Time's worst list. That's just rude. Betamax was not bad at all. Why is it on the Times worst list? If it was better quality than VHS, then how can it be a bad videotape? That's the question. Nintendo Virtual Boy. I always remember, do you know they used to have a fine, the video shop? If you didn't rewind the video, there'd be a fine. And the amount of times I'd get to the video shop to take the video back when I was a kid, I realised I hadn't rewound them. So I'd be walking down the beach towards the video shop, trying to do it by hand. Rewind it, take ages. It's not like audio tapes. You could just put a pen through and rewind it that way. Sometimes, I mean, they didn't always work. Depends how thick the pen was. Nintendo Virtual Boy, 1995. Intended as a 3D gaming console, it was a commercial failure. Okay, I know so little about video games. The thing is, I find it hard to get enthusiastic about something that I'm just not very good at. And I was never really very good at video games. Just didn't really... Yeah, it wasn't that I was awful. Yeah, maybe I did like video games. I just didn't like paying for them. And what I mean by that is, it's not about the cost of money. It's maybe it just took me a lot longer to get good at it. So I'd go down the carousel or down the arcade where there'd be video games. Tron was my favourite. I just like the music. Okay, I did like the music, but obviously not enough to remember what it was. But it was, yeah, I used to like to play it, but it was like 20 pence a time. And I wouldn't get very far, and then that'd be it. And I suppose if I'd have been playing it at home, I could have played it hundreds, thousands of times, and got good at it. But I just didn't. Yeah, I didn't really have that urge. I mean, I did have a couple of video games actually. I was a little bit defensive, wasn't it? I had actually a couple of video games actually. What did I have? I had something like a Pac-Man, but it was, yeah, I had like a Pac-Man game, a handheld one. I had another one that was like some kind of Star Trek. What was it called? What was, not Star Wars? What was the game? Space Invaders. It was, or Asteroids. I think it was more like Asteroids. It was a similar game like that had, it was like a handheld console, but just that game, and the batteries went in the back. But they generally go in the back, don't they? They go in the. I mean, they could go in the front, but it went in the back. It's not really relevant to the story. I don't know why. Why am I talking about batteries? But I like them games. I remember when I got them, because things that we used to. The one thing, not the only thing, but the one thing that was really good about my childhood, from the ages of 7 to, I don't know, 14. Things were, between, 14 and 15 or whatever, but things were, things kind of changed a lot after sort of 14. Things kind of weren't the same anymore, but between 7 and 14, Christmases were brilliant, and birthdays were brilliant. Like, I genuinely, I can't imagine having had better Christmases in any other scenario. I can't even, it's just like, it was great. It was perfect. It was my dad really is Father Christmas, or Santa Claus if you call him Santa Claus. Great Christmases. I mean, you've got to give credit where it's due sometimes. And not just him and my stepmom, they put on the best Christmases. And we did get spoilt with presents, with so many presents. It was great. Brilliant. That's the one thing I can moan about lots of things, but I can never moan about that. Absolutely amazing, really. And it wasn't just that, everything, food, it was just, it's like a banquet, really. And it was great times. And even us brothers kind of had a truce during the Christmas period, which was quite nice. Didn't last long, but it was, it was nice while it lasted. It didn't always last the whole day, maybe till lunch, just after lunchtime. But it was still nice, a bit of peace, Everyone's like pretending to like each other. And, my brothers showing me their presents, and then me pretending to be interested. Just wanting to go upstairs and play with my own presents. And me showing them my presents and then pretending to be interested. It's just a game, wasn't it, really? A game of pretend. But I loved the presents. That's my favourite thing. Not giving presents, receiving. I loved getting presents. I'm not even going to pretend that, I got so much pleasure from buying other people's stuff. Not really. Maybe my stepmom, because I used to buy presents all year round, like little bits and bobs, little ornaments and things like that. So yeah, I did like getting her stuff, and I would like to see her face when she opened my Christmas present. But generally, you know, I was very much focused on my own stuff. Oh yes, chocolates and sweets and books and toys. Yeah, it was good. I liked it. I kind of miss it because that's the one benefit. Well, I don't know if it's a benefit because I could buy myself presents, but no one buys me presents anymore. I sometimes I get a little hamper from my dad. He still gives me money at Christmas. I mean, I'm nearly 70 years old, and he still gives me money at Christmas. It's silly. It's not silly in a horrible way. Just like, I think I never give it back, so obviously I'm not complaining. But it's just, I'm not just an adult. I'm you know, 11 or 12 years away from retirement. Is really, or 12 years, 13 years, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's 66 or 67, but it's not long. 12 years, if it's 67, just over 12 years. Wow. So it's weird, but I do give him presents. He gets presents every year as well. But he gets more presents because he gets Father's Day presents. There's no Son's Day's presents, is there? No Children's Day's presents. Yeah. And yeah, birthdays as well was really great. But it was brilliant and I loved it, but at the same time it was awkward. Because what we did is we went into whoever's birthday it was. We all went downstairs. The rest of the family went downstairs. And then got together. And then came upstairs, back upstairs again, to whoever's bedroom it was. And we come in and start singing Happy Birthday. I don't know why I'm doing it. You know, the Happy Birthday song. And I think it's copyrighted, so I don't think I'm allowed to sing it. That's going to make a difference, isn't it? Happy birthday to you. And yeah, my dad, after a couple of years, we had to get together and say, Dad, can you stop dressing as Marilyn? It's disturbing us. So he didn't, but he didn't stop. We just got this visual of him doing a little dance, standing over a drain, you know, that hot air blowing his dress up. I don't know why I got that visual, singing Happy Birthday. That's two different scenes, isn't it? So it was one of those weird things, because I felt very self-conscious when I knew that they were going to come in, and I knew that they were going to be singing Happy Birthday, and I was going to be sitting in my bedroom, and what we would do would be in a room, we'd be in the bed, and we would open the presents in the bed while everyone like sat on the edge of the bed and all stood around. It was lovely, it really was. It got changed a little bit once I hit my teen years, because I didn't always have enough time to prepare myself for visitors. So the bedroom door would be closed. I think one year I wasn't awake and the door opened, and yeah, I kind of had to. It was just a little bit embarrassing, but it's okay. Presents, I love. Let's move on. I used to love it. Just make. I think I preferred Christmas to birthdays because at Christmas everybody was opening presents at the same time, which I liked because then I didn't have to pretend to like something I didn't like. I mean, I liked everything, but I didn't have to like put on a big show of, oh, brilliant, a pair of socks, thanks, Nan, a nice pair of socks, just what I've always wanted, yippee! And I didn't have to do cartwheels or anything like that, or, wait a minute, in fact, I'm not going to open any more presents. I want to go up and make a big thank you card for my Nan for buying me the socks. She didn't buy. She used to make them. She used to knit. My Nan used to knit stuff. This is totally true. She made us polar necks, all of us. And once we put them on, we couldn't get them over our heads. But my Nan was coming around for lunch, Christmas lunch. My Nan and Grandad, and so we were told we got to put them on because they were Christmas jumpers with little Christmas puddings and stuff on top, green and red and stuff. And so we got to put it on. I said, it's not going to fit over my head. And I said, you're just going to have to wear them during dinner. We did that. It was very uncomfortable. We could not get them off. We had to cut them off. We couldn't get them over our head again once they were on. Actually, I didn't cut mine off because I had respect for my Nan, so I just wore it all year round. I eventually grew through it. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, it was impossible. I mean, it's really weird. It's a weird way to end a Christmas lunch by having Vaseline being spread across my neck to try and sort of get out of this thing. I'm sure I heard someone say, can we shrink him? Like, no, you can't shrink me, can you? It's like, oh. But yeah, it was lost it. They were so tight. And we were all looking at each other, and there was like various variations of blue in our faces. It was like just trying to eat our dinners. And the ironic thing is my dad didn't find it funny because he had one as well. So all four of us had like they weren't matched. They were similar kind of jumpers, but they just weren't. It turned out we just had the wrong ones on. So we didn't realise that inside was the names. So we got on and my dad took his off and said, "This is for you, Jason." And see, it makes sense, that one. But then you're going to think, well, if that was true, then all the others would be, you could say, well, the one that my oldest brother was wearing, that's for the other younger brother. But what about the one that he was wearing? Who was that for? You see, it wouldn't work, would it? I guess, no. I've kind of found a fault in my own lie. Damn. Subprime mortgages. Financial invention that led to global crisis. So I've got no idea what that is. Hydrogen blimps. Oh, yeah. Ambitious but unsafe. Filled with the same gas as the Hindenburg. Yeah, I thought they would have learnt from that. Great idea, technically. I mean, phenomenal. I think it's a shame they didn't really look into it a bit more, a way to do it safely, because that must have been such an unusual way to travel. Quite smooth, I imagine. I mean, when it worked, I mean. When it was successful. Blimey. I'm not purposely saying blimey, by the way. I just... now I've become self-conscious of it. Plastic grocery bags became environmentally notorious. Tell me about it. Well, I understand, the whole environmental stuff and plastic bags and stuff like that. But you know what? I've never dumped anything in the ocean apart from the odd poo. And that was when I was a kid. Wait a minute. That wasn't the ocean, it was a swimming pool. That's why we weren't allowed back to Butlins. Oh, it's weird, isn't it? Memories come back. I think there's kind of a... This is terrible, and I'm just saying this. I was a kid, right? But like, if any kid is gonna do a poo in a swimming pool, I wish someone had told me this when I was a kid. Of course, don't do it. That's the first thing, because it's grim. But if someone was to do it, the one bit of advice that would have been useful for me is don't do it from the diving board. You don't just sit on the end of the diving board and do it, because people know, they notice things like that. You need to be more covert. God, nowadays it'd be on TikTok, wouldn't it? Historic or niche failures. Microsoft Bob. I don't remember that. Anyone remember Microsoft Bob? I just got that visual, sorry. Microsoft Bob was a GUI placement for Windows with a cartoon house interface, mocked and quickly discontinued. I don't remember that. Microsoft Kin Phones, 2010. Social media phones scrapped 2 months after launch due to lack of apps. Okay. Well, the iPhone was out by then, wasn't it? The iPhone didn't have huge amounts of apps, I don't think, at the time. Maybe I'm wrong, but... Number 13, Oakley Thump, 2004. Sunglasses with built-in MP3 player, pricey and impractical. It sounds like a good idea though, doesn't it? Nokia N-Gage, a gaming phone flop noted by Reader's Digest. Okay, I don't know why they're mentioning where they found it. Microsoft Zune. Why does that sound familiar? A media player that couldn't dent iPod's domination. Oh, okay. iPods were pretty amazing though. Easy to use. I mean, I honestly, really, I don't know why iPods why it lost its popularity. I know you say, oh, because of the phone. But you know what? iPods had a much larger I mean, now, if iPods were still going, they would have a much larger memory on them. They'd probably have multiple terabytes worth of memory, which could possibly store every movie and every single album ever. But then I suppose we've got streaming for that, haven't we? So I suppose streaming, don't need iPods for streaming. But I just preferred it to the phone because I like to use the phone separately. So if I'm out, if I want to go out, I'm talking about in the past when I used to go out, but I'd have my iPod. I wouldn't necessarily have my phone on me because I wouldn't need to. The iPod, it wasn't dependent upon the internet or data from the phone. Everything was stored on the actual iPod. I had 250 gigabytes on it. It was, I think, the best one around at the time. It's a long, long time ago. What, 2008, 2009, something like that. I loved it. And yeah, at the time I didn't have a smartphone, so having a phone wasn't really an option as far as using. But even if, I still think an iPod was better than using a phone for music. I don't know why. I just think the sound was better. Mind you, that was with headphones, so probably maybe exactly the same with an iPhone. Maybe much better on the iPhone now, I don't know. Perhaps it was just because the iPod was there for that specific reason. For music. You could have videos as well, but for video, basically for music. Because an iPhone is for lots of different things, so I guess it just, yeah. I do quite like something that's there for a specific reason. You know, like, it's like a bed. It's there to sleep in. And I don't know, you generally, you know, but like sleeping in. That's what my bed's for. I say my bed. I'd like to say our bed, but it's Vinny's bed. He lets me share. He's very kind like that. Hoverboards. The Segway style. Overhyped and electric versions led to safety issues. Hoverboards. Okay. I mean, Back to the Future kind of made those. I was going to say popular because it didn't exist, did they? But like, I think it caught people's imagination. The idea that it'd be like a skateboard but in the air. The Ford Pinto flying car, experimental jet-powered Pinto, short flights ended in crashes. Well, there are now flying cars again. And I've got no idea how that's going to work. Because knowing the human race, they'll just end up being traffic jams in the sky. And that won't work, will it? Unless it can hover. Yeah, how does it stop? Because you could overtake, but what if you can't overtake and there's something else coming? Will you go higher up? Okay, but how many levels would there be? There might end up being like 100 different levels of traffic in the sky. Oh. Bell. Oh, apparently in the UK, Uber taxis, automatic, self-driving ones, are going to be introduced in the UK, like now, or they've done a pilot scheme and they're going to start releasing them. When I first saw that, because I only use Uber Eats. We don't have, well, I don't think we have Uber taxis here. So I get Uber Eats. And I thought, how is it going to deliver upstairs? How's it going to bring my food to me, my groceries to me, my milk or whatever else I've ordered? So I'm going to have to go outside, which kind of defeats the object of ordering the delivery. If I have to go and collect it. I know it's not the same as travelling all the way to the shop, but, you know, still. But then I realised it was a taxi, so... Would I get into a car that didn't have a driver? The way I see it is the only way the automatic self-driving cars can really work is if all vehicles on the road were automatic self-driving. Because when one stops, they all stop until that situation's sorted out, you know. So it's almost, I guess it would work much better as a, I don't know, like as a one kind of brain thing. I know what I'm trying to say, I'm just not perhaps saying it in a way that makes sense even to me. Bell Rocket Belt, a 21-second flight pack used for demos but deemed impractical. Well, 21 seconds, I mean, it'd be useful in some situations. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you found yourself at the bottom of a well or some ravine or very, you know, a mountain, or not a high mountain, but something that you can't get up, 21 seconds of flying upwards might actually be useful. Or if you're being chased by a goat. I'm just thinking, you know, as an example. Flying tanks. Antonov A-40. WW-2 Soviet winged tank. So this was the plan, flying tanks, but unfortunately it didn't work because they were too heavy to fly. It's like, really? I think of what's the heaviest vehicle, and the tank's one of the things that I think of. One of the heaviest vehicles. I mean, it's got to be so heavy. There's got here an AMAT cursor gyro dripping water gorge. Outdated medical tool that failed. I don't even know what it is, so that's not going to really be useful. On-off experiments and oddities. So let's have a look. Egg cuber. S-shaped mould to cube hard-boiled eggs. Didn't catch on. Right. So basically to make eggs in a shape. That's kind of it. I wonder, that sounds familiar. Like I might have had one of them or tested one of them. I tell you, one of the things, it might be in this list. Oh, God, I did not like it. Fenkui fondue, that's it. Fondue sets where you'd be heating up, almost like being back in the science lab at school. Like a not a Bunsen burner, but you'd be heating up oil and then cooking the food yourself. It's like, no, I didn't see the point in spending 2 hours at a table at home. No, I'd rather just have a sandwich, thanks. But I remember people used to have parties and dinner parties, couples getting together and chatting about life whilst holding these little sticks of meat in this oil, and I just, what? Why? That was my question. Why? An electric pen from Thomas Edison. Okay. Alright, so, but it lost out to the typewriter. An electric pen. So it's kind of like, I'm not quite sure how it works, so that'd be interesting to see. But a typewriter kind of came along. Motorized surfboard, 1948. $345 device with poor performance. $345 in 1948, I'm guessing, was a lumps. That was a big bag of dosh. Vinny was like half falling off the chair there. He's just woken up. Wearable parachute suit invented by Franz Reichheit. Failed catastrophically. Now, he seems to be enjoying having half his body laying off the chair. I don't know why that is. Maybe he's just getting to stretch his neck, maybe. I think wearable parachute suit, I mean, aren't all parachutes wearable? That's kind of the idea, isn't it? The aim, to be able to wear them. But then a suit, would that be like a dinner suit? Just, you're going to go parachuting, but you've got a job interview. So I'll go to the job interview first, and I'll just jump out the window and parachute home. I don't know, is that a thing? But it wasn't very popular. I personally think that parachutes should be available to anyone. Well, they should be like seatbelts in cars. They should be compulsory for everyone to wear a parachute that goes up in a plane. Any plane. But that's just me. And anyone on a boat should have a life dinghy around themselves at all times and a life jacket on. So even on cruises, everybody should be wearing a life jacket at all times. Again, cruises might become less popular if that was enforced. But for me, safety is everything. So that's why I wear a condom when I watch porn. No, I don't. That was a silly thing to say. Flying saucer camera designed to spot UFOs but never gained traction. Flying saucer camera. Is this someone else has pointed this out? It's strange, isn't it, that we now have not only the cameras everywhere we go, like, you know, in the streets, and in this country it's the most surveillanced country in pretty much the whole world, I think, especially in London. Maybe Japan, New York, maybe sort of equal, maybe. But everybody's walking around with a camera, and generally good quality cameras on the phones. Not great sound, but pictures usually pretty good if you're outside. Yet how often do we see UFOs now? I know they've named them a different name now. It's not UFOs, it's no, it's still UFOs. I'm not going to change it. It's not a derogatory word, so I'm not going to change it. I'm using that word or that synonym or whatever. UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Just changing it to whatever they changed it to. The American government decided, well, we're going to give it a different name now. No. The TV shows, the UFO files, still the UFO files, not changed. Just because Skoda have decided to call their cars Skoda, it's still Skoda. We still say Skoda. Lidl, still Lidl, no matter how often for years trying to tell us Lidl. No, it's Lidl. We call it Lidl. That's how we do things in this country. Skoda, Lidl. Sorry. That's just the way it is. What was a few names that we didn't know? Oh yeah, I remember when Dynasty came out. There was that whole thing like, is it Dynasty or Dynasty? We're calling it Dynasty, but I'm sure they call it Dynasty in America. What's the correct way to say it? And I'll be saying, yeah, also, what about Dallas? That's when the whole family would turn on me. What about Dallas? I said, how are we supposed to... That was just ridiculous, isn't it? Where am I going with that? That's just ridiculous. I'm not even going to finish that sentence. That was ridiculous. Oh, no wonder I was in this special class. How are we supposed to pronounce Dallas? Oh, dear. Oh man, that was silly. It's very silly. Okay. Back to normality. Oh my goodness, am I about to read this out? Baby cage. Okay, this next one. Baby cage from the 1930s. A mesh cage. I can't even read this out. A mesh cage to suspend babies outside London flats. Like budgies, like a budgie cage, but for a baby. You are, oh my god, that's ridiculous. How's little Tommy doing? We can go and have a look. He's on the veranda. He's hanging up in his little cage. Wow. This is a real thing apparently. Health concerns ended it. I bet you it was health concerns about whether or not the cage dropped and hit an adult on the head. That's probably what the health concerns were. Weren't about the baby being stuck in a cage. Wow. Oh, I do apologise. I didn't know this was going to make me laugh. I should have known really, but... Oh, God, it's ridiculous. Baby cage. Glamour bonnet. A facial vacuum device from 1940. Baby cage. Sorry. Okay, moving on. Facial vacuum device. A facial vacuum device from 1940s for complexion improvement. Discontinued. A glamour bonnet. A facial vacuum. That's So basically you're sucking the skin out. I suppose it stretches the... I mean, that's the opposite though, isn't it? Isn't it about, like, booty products are supposed to be... Not supposed to be, isn't it? Like, quite often about tightening the skin, not stretching the skin. I don't know. I clearly don't know much about that stuff anyway. A shower hood. This was 1970s Germany. Head covering shower shield. Head covering shower shield. People just preferred shampoo. I don't understand that. Shower hood. Head covering. How do you have a shower and cover your head so your head doesn't get wet? I mean, I know you can have a shower cap, can't you? But a shower shield would literally stop the water from... wouldn't get onto your body, would it? I don't know. Maybe that's why it discontinued. Pet flavoured water called Thirsty Dog. The mid-90s pet flavoured water, odd and unsuccessful. Okay. So was it water that tasted like pets that humans drank? Or was it water that was flavoured that dogs drank? I'm not sure. Maybe that's where the problem was with the advertising. People thought, why do I want to have water that tastes like a dog? Or a cat? Or a budgie? Or, you know. Number 30. A cigarette umbrella. The whimsical design never attained popularity. A cigarette umbrella. Right. This is one of those moments I have to look this up. I'm sorry. I am interested now. Cigarette umbrella. Oh my goodness. I just see the picture of it. Right. So basically, from what I can see, I have to look at images. Cigarette umbrella. Do you know those cigarette holders that people used to have in the old days? Like a plastic thing and then they'd stick the cigarette in the end. It's like that, with a little contraption, like a little arm, with an umbrella that covers the cigarette. So, literally like an umbrella. The kind of thing that you perhaps get in a drink or something. And it protected the cigarette from the rain. So the next lot is tech misfires. So number 31, Nintendo Famicom. Famicom? Initial release. Early faulty console that froze games led to recall. Well, yeah, rightly so. But like, that would be horrible for people to... You look forward to something and then everything freezes. You know? Yeah. AT&T picture phone, 1964. Video phone debited at World's Fair. It was too expensive. $16 per minute. Okay, so video phones worked in 1964. Yeah, it was $16 a minute then, but it would have gone down, wouldn't it? I mean, I'm sure they could have sold at least a few thousand. People that had money, you know, millionaires, would probably love to have something like that. In fact, some people that were just quite well off would probably like to have one and just spend a couple of minutes a week talking on the phone, or a couple of minutes a month talking to family that maybe lived the other side of the country or something. I remember, 'cause I've got a Ring doorbell, and I remember I dated this person who lived in a block of flats, and she actually had a screen inside her flat, and downstairs in the main doorway, because it was a locked security, 30 years ago security locked that. Ours isn't locked, but I'm just moaning now. But it's literally, you pressed it and you could see who was down there. They couldn't see you, but unless you were down there as well. But then who'd answer the door? But you could see who was on the screen. It was black and white, I think. But it's like, wow, that was 30 years ago, and it was good quality picture as well. Bill Gates' tablet PC, 2001. So it was too bulky and pricey at $2,000. That was before the iPad era. Tablet PC. Yeah. Again, maybe the only way it works is if they sell millions. Maybe they have to sell millions like really quickly. Selling something at $2,000, they still maybe sell 100,000, 10,000, 20,000. But I guess that's not enough. But I'm sure they'd find 20, 30,000 people in America that would have paid $2,000 to have a tablet PC. But to be fair, I think my business acumen possibly... Bill Gates has never once phoned me up to ask me for financial advice. So I suppose probably a reason for that. Does he have my number though? Sony CD copy protection. DRM scheme that annoyed legitimate buyers. I don't really know what that means, so I'll move on. Head-On 2000s. Headache relief gel marketed with bizarre ads. Faded away. I have a mild recollection of that. Phone fingers. Phone fingers? Thumb-attached phone receiver accessory and never took off. A thumb-attached phone receiver. Thumb-attached phone receiver accessory. I'm not sure how... Does that make sense to you? Phone fingers. So I suppose like the phone's on your fingers and you tap... Oh well. Pop-up video ads. Early online ads that became universally despised. Yes. They're still on. What are you talking about? They're still there. This pop-up video ads are still there. They're still online. You still see them on Facebook. Video ads popping up. I think. Crocs fashion flop. Oi. Now, I'm unhappy about that. I'm wearing Crocs right now, and they're pink. Crocs fashion flop. those still around, widely derided and listed as a worst. No. I think you'll find millions of people love Crocs. They're comfortable. They are. I wear them every day. I don't go out in them. Generally. Unless I want to scare the neighbours. Quick catastrophe. So, 41, a baby cage, so that's already been... My goodness. Olestra, this is a thing. Olestra, 1990s, a fat substitute detergent causing digestive issues. So yeah, these were taken off because they weren't stable or they weren't good. Clippy Office Assistant. Oh, do you remember Clippy on Microsoft Office? An annoying animated staple in Microsoft Office. Is it still not about? That used to annoy me. Couldn't get rid of it. Like, why? Just go away. I liked it for the first day. It was a novelty, but then after that, it's a bit like a relationship, isn't it? You know. After the first day, crinoline, hoop skirts. Fashion hazard from 19th century. No, I don't know that. A hula chair. Exercise while sitting. A chair that didn't sell. Well, the reason people sit is because they don't want to exercise. You know, there's two different things. It's like eating and going to the toilet. I mean, not exclusively separate, but generally done at different times. Unless you're in a hurry. Miser flying car. Car cut with aircraft wings. It didn't fly, basically. That's a pretty good reason for a flying car to be miscontinued or discontinued if it doesn't actually fly. Smell-o-vision, 1960s cinemas. They released odours during films. Apparently, this made the audience laugh. It's not a bad thing, is it? Snuggie for dogs. Tempting pet wear that flopped. Oh, I'd dress him up all day long if I could. He's like a little doll. My little doll. My little action man. Pop rock candy. Rumoured urban legends. Killed sales. Legal but scandalised. So I've got no idea what that's about. Hydrogenated oils. So that didn't go very well. Body rust proofing. Okay. ChatGPT just made up some joke there. Body rust proofing KFC flavoured snack. Just kidding, but many silly ones filled the time list. He's giving me jokes. Wow. He's making jokes. He's got jokes. I remember the first time I heard that when I was in London. Jason's got jokes. Like, it's not even a sentence. It's not even a proper sentence. I'm telling jokes. I remember my last sales job, there was this... Okay, everyone was younger than me pretty much when I was there. Even people who were retiring were younger than me. And one of the people I worked with, she was about 22, 23. I was... what was I at the time? 42? 42 probably. Only 10 years, well, not a big difference, but, you know, to her, I was like I was an old man. and I said something that maybe was mildly humorous, and she said, "Oh, Jason did a funny," or "Jason said a funny." Like, okay, so I'm not allowed to say funny things because I'm over the age of 10. Is that what we're doing now? Because I'm not 22 or 23, I can't say anything humorous. Doesn't work like that. I know some people lose their sense of humour for whatever reason, but it's just like, come on. What am I supposed to... I think what it is I think some people, if they've got parents my age, I should be acting like a parent, or I should be acting like a teacher or something like that. And I'm not. I'm neither of those things. I act what I am, which is, I don't know what it is. I don't know what I am anymore, but what I do know is I have completed the list on here that I came up with. Let's have a look. You realise this is the third recording I've done today. I don't know why. Well, I know why, because I've done 3 recordings, but I did 2 previous. Don't know why I've done so many. Just felt like the right thing to do, I suppose. So, yeah. That's the end of this recording. I'm going to edit and process it when I wake up tomorrow morning. Thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. And be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.